Hi friends! Today we're getting into the new Sydney Grace and TEMPTALIA collab featuring 3 palettes. But first, if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I am a fitness professional who loves things, all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups, you can head over to my Instagram. A huge congratulations to TEMPTALIA, also known as Christine, for collabing with Sydney Grace. Once I saw the images of the palette, I became really excited. First of all, this collab will be dropping on FRIYAY, noontime Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, so depending on what time zone, make sure you punch that in so you get the alarm on and popping. Each of these palettes can be purchased for $40 or you can get all 3 for $100. This is a special release because there are a total of 3, but they have light and deep versions for each. Sydney Grace and TEMPTALIA were very kind enough to send me all 3 of the deep versions, and I'm sure many other influencers, maybe they have received the light versions, and just to use them as a reference to decide which one will be best for you. Christine had a vision to create a colorful palette that could still be used every day. This palette is also unique because all 3 palettes come together to make a beautiful picture inspired by the galaxy. I was very excited by this. I don't know if you know, but I'm into fantasy. I mean, I got the alien earrings on, and when I saw this image, it just was, I wanted to be there. Okay, look how beautiful this is. I'm trying not to blind you with the glare, but isn't that just devastatingly, ethereally, galactically gorgeous? It felt like something I had envisioned in a dream. And also, I do watch a lot of anime, and with all the imagery from that genre and seeing these palettes, anyway, I was all in. Okay, Quintessence, which is the first palette I dived into, and I have a quick tutorial on my Instagram reels. I will post it down below so you can take a look. And this is an extremely special collaboration as it is in memory of Christine's dog who passed away this year. You can see a silhouette of Magellan. Magellan? There he is. I get emotional because I think of Maddie and I can't, okay? And look at this. This is supposed to be underwater. Can you imagine ever seeing something like that in real life? I feel like it's around. The deep sea is deep, friends. We don't know what's going on down there, and there could be a whole city laughing at us, knowing that we don't even know, but some of us do. A huge thank you again to Sydney Grace and TEMPTALIA for the kind gift. This is a first impressions and also a second diving in because I did use Quintessence already, but I wanted to show you all the swatches of the palettes as well as 2 looks using On the Horizon and Radiant Reflection. Yes, I already mentioned the price again, 40 each or 100 for the bundle. We're looking at 18 months suggested shelf life. All palettes are made in the USA and they each weigh in at 21.6 grams of product. And I will be sure to link TEMPTALIA's Instagram post down below so you can get great photos of the swatches because TEMPTALIA, okay, if you don't know who Christine is a well-known beauty blogger who has been doing this for years, and she grades different makeup and she has her own system where she relies on certain credentials to determine which grade she'll give a certain product. She also takes fantastic photos of the swatches and also takes photos of herself to show the viewer how the makeup looks on a person. And what an opportunity to now dive into some of Christine's inspiration, right? We always see Christine looking at other people's inspiration and interpreting it, but now we have an opportunity to get into her own brain. So quickly showing, this is Quintessence again. You see it is very jewel toned in nature, and the light deep nuances in terms of the differences is not so much the metallics. I think the metallics are consistent across all 3 palettes. It's the mattes that might differ a little bit in terms of light and deep because those are probably the anchor shades, if you will, that will determine the depth or intensity of a certain shadow look. If you are lighter on the spectrum, then this is not going to be very helpful, but if it's lighter, then it would. Vice versa, if you're deeper on the spectrum, then a lighter matte will not anchor down the look and you'll need something richer in color to create a smokier consistency with the other metallic colors in here. We'll go into On the Horizon, which is again the deep version. We have Magellan. Oh, and I have not hopped into this palette yet. So take a look at that. This one I feel is still jewel tone, but a touch softer. Radiant reflection, a little more vibrant, if you will. Again, with the beautiful blues, and here we have some pinks and coral shades. I'll quickly go through all the swatches first with Quintessence, just calling out the shades. Umbra, Orion, Nebula, Aurora. Ooh, you see that flip? I see that flip. Borealis, Galactic Muse, Interstellar, Celestial Bloom, the Milky Way. Ooh, that's pretty. Reaching Zen, Parallax, Sirius Starlight, and finally, My Constellation. And here we have all the swatches for Quintessence. On the horizon, Heart Dog, Earthbound, Desert Spoon, Magellan's Light, Phoenix Awakens, October Odyssey, Midnight Courage, Flying High, Lunar Illumination, Infinite Echoes, Sakura Glow, or Sakura Glow, Calming Presence. And here are all the swatches for On the Horizon. Radiant Reflection, Unstoppable Love, Opera Rose, The Lady of the Hour, TEMPTALIA, Forget Her Not, Our Starry Night, Gloss Over, oh that's pretty, matches my nails, Sumptuous, Serendipity, Phosphines, Dearest, Constant, Exquisite, Opulence, maybe an ode to Pat McGrath, as Pat always loves to include a gold in all her palettes. She loves to use the word opulence. Jealousy's Descent, Green with Envy. And lastly, Sublime Reverie. And here are all the swatches for Radiant Reflection. Boosh, 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 boosh. We have all the swatches on our arms. Now that we've seen all those beautiful shades, man oh man, these metallics, man, I don't know if you can see, like, holy crap, holy. But we're gonna get into it. This is more so, I will use the punchy shades in this video, because I think if you consider getting it, that's probably why you want to purchase it in the first place, to dive into these beautiful shades. Not so much to wear, well, I'm sure Christine would love you to have it as an everyday palette. So you might just have to be strategic about which colors you combine, yeah? We'll go in with On the Horizon first. I will put all my complexion products down below in the description box. Eyes already prepped. You know what that means, fam. That's enough. Now, just looking at On the Horizon, again, this is the deep version. So if you're my complexion, these are pretty nice. Heart Dog, Lunar Illumination, and Magellan's Light. Really nice to maybe just apply on your lid, and you can use Infinite Echoes as a shadow liner on the lash, or even October Odyssey. Once you apply these mattes, however, in your crease, you will immediately drive the look to be smoky. So just be wary of that. If you wanted to go, you know, all in with the colors, then you have Midnight Courage and Desert Spoon, these two here, to steer the eye look to be far more colorful and jewel toned, as opposed to using the more neutral, light, rosy types of shades in here. You know what? You know I have to go all in, because I have to see as many shades as possible. October Odyssey, which is like it looks to be a very plummy type of a moment. We have a mirror, not the biggest, probably because they had to tape it really low. If it came up a little higher, I think that would have given us a little more width, but it's all good. Using my Refer 27 to blend in October Odyssey. Now you see immediately we're getting that smoke. If you're my skin tone and you don't feel comfortable applying this shade first on your crease, then you can rely on a bronzer shade, or even like a contour powder shade that you might have applied on your face that day, and just apply a little bit through your crease just as a foundation for the smoke. That shade's pretty good. I see a little bit of inconsistency here through the crease, but I'm taking my time in just diffusing and ensuring that it looks smooth throughout. But the tone is really pretty. I gotta go in with Sakura Glow, and I know I can go with my finger. However, I think it wiser to rely on a shader brush just so I have a little bit of control. So this is my Hakuro Sora series eye brush. Oh, that's pretty. I knew immediately upon feeling these swatches that the application would be gorgeous. And I am not new to Sydney Grace shadows. I think they're one of the most spectacularly formulated indie brand shadows on the market. Incredibly smooth and easy to use. And the color selection is unreal. Definitely now with Lunar Illumination. This is the more lavender, metallic, that I think this needs a little bit of a stiffer brush to pick up, because that with the Sakura Glow, oh my gosh, that is absolutely gorgeous. And October Odyssey looks beautiful with like this, I wouldn't call it, this is a little cool to be exclusively magenta, do you think? Or maybe it is more purple magenta, but it's gorgeous. A little bit of Infinite Echoes here. This is the dark brown matte. I'm tapping over the edges of the metallic here to give a little more smoke. You can totally skip that step, but you have that option if you wish to influence the smoke of the eye. Phoenix Awakens, I think, as our lower lash line moment. So you can go in with October's Odyssey instead, just to tie everything together. But if you got, we've got 12 shades in here, use as many as you can. And a little bit of October's Odyssey to blend in with Phoenix Awakens, just so that is more of a seamless transition. You know what? I want to get this a little bit more cohesive. So I'm just taking this out a little bit more. You know, this is my rehearsal side. So I'm trying to be really careful in how I blend these shades. If all else fails, you'll go in with your concealer brush or what have you, your sponge, just to kind of diffuse the edges of that blend. Now with Magellan's Light, definitely as our inner lower lash line showstopper. And I'm also going to wrap it up and in towards Lunar Illumination. I'm using my smaller Surratt shadow brush to get more on the tear duct here. All right, that is eye number one. Why don't we go in now with the more greens? I didn't use Calming Presence yet. I could only imagine you can use Calming Presence on the outer corner or outer lid and then go in with Sakura's Glow. You know, you could even go Calming Presence all over the lid and then Magellan's Light on the inner corner for your highlight shade. You know, you could do a lot. Desert Spoon is the matte green here in the palette. All right, showing true to color. Nice color impact. Happy that it's in here so you can further amplify the blue and green tones here in the palette. Oh, that's nice. A little bit of Midnight Courage. This is the navy matte. I'm tapping that on top of Desert Spoon because I think that's a really beautiful combination when you combine blues and greens, and each color maintains its integrity, so it's not looking muddy when I layer them together, which is great news. So you can create a really nice gradient from green to blue if you wanted to combine these two shades. Now with my finger, I'm going in with Flying High, which is more of like the teal metallic. Oh yes, that's pretty. And then Earthbound, which is more of like the green, like light green moss shade on the inner part of the eye. This is more of like a muted green as opposed to the one that appears in Quintessence. Like that's more of like a vibrant, it has some gold flecks in there. It's like I believe it's a duochrome. It's definitely, the base is definitely more green teal, I feel. Ooh, we could go in with Calming Presence. I thought we weren't going to be able to, but the blue here, we'll use that as our lower lash line shade. This is a little thicker packed than the other metallics in here, but it picks up pretty well with my shader brush. And now with Heart Dog, for sure, that's going to be our inner lower lash line spotlight, as well as some of the upper part of the inner corner, really dives in well with Earthbound. I think that's a nice combination. All right, let's slap on some lashes and I'll be right back. Here we have chandelier lashes in the style Ariel. Here's look number 1, mostly with the plums and that beautiful copper shade. And we have look number 2, mostly with the green shades. And here's a wide shot of both looks. On the lips, I have Lisa Eldridge Gloss Embrace in the shade of Fair. Hope this demo helped. We're gonna take this off, roll into the next palette, and I'll see you in a bit. Radiant Reflection up next. Ooh, what shall we do? Wow, look at all the blues. We definitely have to go in with like that crazy cerulean blue. You know what? I think I want to start off with Dearest Constant because this looks, where is it? Unstoppable Love looks similar to October Odyssey. Here's October Odyssey. Here is Unstoppable Love. Unstoppable Love, I think, has a little more of a more prominent pearl, plum, versus October's Odyssey is more muted. So they are similar, right? Since we already did a look using the magenta and muted plum, I thought maybe we'll go in with Dearest Constant, which is more of like this terracotta coral shade. We'll see where this shade takes us. And already, nice and warm. That was pretty easy to blend out. We could go in with Unstoppable Love and see what that brings us in terms of smoke. And also leave Dearest Constant as is. Go in with Exquisite Opulence on the lid, or any of these metallics I think will perform well on top of this matte. But just so we'll see, Unstoppable Love on top of Dearest Constant. We just want to see how these overlap, or you can still detect more of that plum shade on top of the terracotta coral shade. That's very nice. Want to go in with Sumptuous Serendipity. Most definitely on the lid. I think this is going to look so pretty next to Unstoppable Love. Very smooth metallic, and I detect from the texture, you can actually use this all over your lid and crease. I feel like this will blend out beautifully. Definitely have to go in with TEMPTALIA. This pink, oh my heavens. On top of Sumptuous. That's it. Beautifully pink. Giving sunset vibes over here. Operos, this metallic, it's more like a, not maroon, like a ruby metallic shade. Is not all the way red, but not all the way pink either. I'm gonna do that under the lash line and then go back in with Unstoppable Love and pull these two together like so. Careful here. I just want to wrap that matte down and under. Of course, phosphines on the inner lower as well as some of the inner tear duct here. I'm curious to see. I want to go in with Forget Me Not first, just on the lid, because that, look at that color. That's beautiful. Really smooth metallic, but I think it will do quite well as a shade we can blend out. As the previous looks we've done where I go in with a matte first, I think you can really blend this metallic out. Look how beautiful that is. Just be careful when you apply these metallics with your finger, because if you get to any piece of skin that's not your lid, it'll get shadow too. All right, that's just the metallic, and you can just apply this on the lower lash line, another lighter color on the inner corner, and be done. But we're not going to do that. We're going to build on this look, and I think I want to go in with Sublime Reverie, this teal matte right on the edges of Forget Her Not. I think that's a really nice transition and a way to go if you just wanted to change up your application technique and not necessarily start off the look with the matte. You most certainly can do so with one of the metallic shades. Okay, I gotta go in with Gloss Over. Look at this blue. Are you kidding me? That is almost like neon. That is gorgeous. On the inner part or the middle part of the eye, I want to go in with Our Starry Night. This has a little more texture, a little more brightness than Forget Her Not. Oh yes, I think a good move to apply it on Forget Her Not, because Forget Her Not is a smooth texture, is a nice metallic, but it's a little tighter and doesn't have the same amount of sparkle as Our Starry Night. Maybe a different formula. So if you wanted to bump up like the dazzle of that blue, then you can layer our Starry Night over Forget Her Not. And of course, Jealousy's Descent, this just emerald green metallic on the lower lash line here. Just pull it all the way through. A little bit of Forget Her Not on the tail end of that application, just to pull everything together. There we go. And of course, Exquisite Opulence on the inner. Well, you know what? I'm going to go in on the lower inner and tear duct. You don't have to necessarily use the shade. You could go in with Phosphines. I think that would be an appropriate shade to use as a highlight, or even just gloss over. I think gloss over is really nice as an inner corner highlight. The vibrancy of this blue is outrageous. All right, slap on some lashes and I'll be right back. Here we have same chandelier lashes on. We have the Terracotta Sunset Plum Eye, and we have the green, blues, and that pop of golden on this side. And here is Radiant Reflection. I feel like each palette has like the pink, purple mood, and then the green, blue mood. If I were to quickly hop back into Quintessence, I'm sorry I don't have the time today. Well, I could do it after my live. I don't know how the sunlight will be, so cross your fingers. Because Quintessence has more, I think it has more of the duochromes. You have Aurora Borealis and the Milky Way. You have those duochromes here, and I think a touch bit smokier than the other two. Because the standout so-called bright shade, I would say Orion Nebula, or maybe like one that's not a blue, right? Orion Nebula. Because if you take that out, all the shades here are like either plum, green, or blue. And these pops of greens will do well either on the lid or on the inner lower lash line if you want that extra pop of vibrancy on the eye. And if you wanted to kind of turn down the intensity, you can then use Parallax with my Constellation. This is like a softer plum metallic. But from using these palettes, I feel like they're very bold. The only way you can probably really make it daily friendly is if you use one shade at a time. Once you start combining shades, the looks become punchy, they become very impactful. As you see, would I wear this for a daily, what have you? Absolutely. But for someone else that's like, oh, I don't know, you will have to overcome that hesitancy. And if you're not one to use these colors on the regular, I'm not sure if this will be a great match for you. But if you are confident in figuring out how to implement these bolder, just shinier metallic shades in a daily look, then let me know down below if you consider buying the Sydney Grace and Temptalia palettes, if this is not in your usual wheelhouse of color and eye looks in general. I'll see how the sunlight looks after this video. If it's looking all right, I'll do 2 more looks using Quintessence. You know what? We can still make this happen. That's enough. It's the next day, fam, but I wanted to sweep in and quickly do 2 more looks using Quintessence. As I was looking at the thumbnails, I thought, you know what? I should really dive back in, because to see the gradient of different shades across 3 palettes, I thought will be helpful to you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. We shall see. Lids are prepped, of course. And what should we come in with first? On my Instagram, I went in with Borealis and Galactic Muse. I think I want to do Celestial Bloom and the Milky Way, which is Christine's last name, and I failed to mention that in the first portion of the video. Aurora is this gorgeous duochrome shade, and let's see what that does. Oh yes. You know what? I'm going to apply with the finger first and then finesse the edges with the brush after. I don't know if you can notice that shift, but that is absolutely beautiful. Got a little bit of fallout, but expected considering the texture of the shadow. Now we can refine the edges a little bit, pull it through the crease. Now with Celestial Bloom, this beautiful midnight metallic shade, a little tighter in the pan than Aurora. With that said, I'll tap the majority of the color on my finger first, but because of that, I got a little fallout. Expected. And if you want to avoid that, I would highly recommend you apply your eyeshadow first and face makeup afterwards. Reference number 1, zhuzhing the edges of Celestial Bloom so it could round out. Oh, but we're getting a lot of fallout. So because of the texture of this metallic, I would still blend it out. Again, I would just do my eye makeup first, but this is what we got. So be wary of those circumstances, you know. And now I got blue on my face, which is fine. It's fine. I'm actually just gonna wipe off my makeup and reapply it after my eyes are done. No biggie. Reaching Zenith, which is like a cobalt type of a blue, just on the edges here of Celestial Bloom, so it could look a little more hazy. I know I used this shade as the inner corner for my Instagram look, but this I think is gorgeous with this duochrome. Do I want to go in with my Constellation on the bottom? That's the more plum metallic shade. I think I want to go Galactic Muse and put the teals underneath. Do I want to do that? So many options. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do the plum for the majority of the lower lash line. Things are falling. But maybe bring in a little bit of Borealis on the inner corner of the lower lash line. Maybe Borealis, which is like this teal. It's so beautiful. It's like a turquoise, actually. I feel like, oh, we like that. We like that. Overlapping the plum metallic. I know it's a lot going on, but it works for me. All right, for this next look, I think I definitely want to go in with Orion Nebula, this metallic cranberry, which is a lot smoother than Celestial Bloom, and I feel a more appropriate texture to blend in and through the crease if you wish to rely on this shade alone for your eyeshadow look. That's beautiful, very smooth, and again, I'm not going to get as much fallout from that shade. I do, however, want to use Parallax, this deep taupe shade, as the inner and outer moments, and then I'll take it through the crease, and I think the matte melts really nicely with Orion Nebula. Tapping in more Parallax on the inner part of the eye. We're doing a little bit of a halo moment. I think these two colors mesh beautifully together. All right, it's looking good. The Milky Way. Beautiful duochrome now on the tear duct. So pretty. Had a little leftover Borealis on that brush, but it's all good, you know. All fun. I'm really packing it in there. Is overlapping with Parallax a little bit, but it's all good. I think it works. We like that. Going a lot more simple with this side. I'm just applying Parallax on the bottom of the lash line. You can go in with a different color, but I kind of like the simple route we went, just dealing with these 3 shades. But for the inner lower lash line, we can go with Milky Way, or I think I want to do Galactic Muse. I know we already put a shade like that on the inner lower lash line for the first eye, but I thought, why not? Just kind of, I think that works beautifully. I don't know if you can detect the slight difference between the two. Let's quickly look at them. This is Borealis, and this is the Galactic Muse. Borealis, I think, has a little more green. Galactic Muse, a little more turquoise. So that is the difference. From here on both eyes, they might look the same, but they're not, because I applied these two on my lids for my Instagram look, and although blended, they might have looked like they were the same shade. I could see a slight difference between my inner corner and outer V in terms of that nuanced undertone. All right, looks are complete. I have chandelier lashes in the style Lady Grace. Here is the blue look, which I think with that duochrome shade just brings it a little cooler than the previous blue looks we have in this video. And I'm happy we went in with Orion Nebula for the standout lid color on this eye look, as opposed to pulling it through the lower lash line like I did on IG. Here is a wide shot of both looks, fam. Hopefully this helped. I'm happy I was able to come back in and do 2 new looks using Quintessence. I'll see you back in the original video. Let me know if you're grabbing 1, 2, or all 3 palettes from the Sydney Grace and TEMPTALIA collaboration. What colors were your favorite from this video? What are you thinking down below? I will see you in the comments, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. to my channel. And until then, I will see you in here again with another review tutorial, eyeshadow palette extravaganza, monthly favorites, or lunchtime chit chat. Take care, and I will see you again soon.